talked about a question, Orla. I heard you mention digital marketing, and I just wanted you to expand on that a little bit, because I think that's actually, I might be wrong, but that might be where things are heading in this moment, this contemporary moment of media. I'm much more interested in the digital aspects of things.
Anybody else want to go, or should I just call? How about you, Camelia? Am I saying
Carmelia.
Camelia.
Carmelia Aline. I'm from Barbados. I'm a teacher by profession, and apparently I'm a producer as well. So my main interest in getting into film was to build self-esteem in my students, and also to expose them to the wider world, to let them know there's more out there than what you know and what you think you ought to know. So I've made 2 films, one at the primary school level and the other at the secondary level, my story, which is in this festival. And I really would like to know, how do I proceed from this point? I have 2 other scripts sitting, and I know that one of my issues is to learn exactly how to sell and how to create a proper budget, which I learned the hard way. How to properly budget when it comes to filmmaking. But I was actually torn between this room and the other one with financing.
Oh, yeah. Well, luckily that
Yes.
is Marva, and I know she's going to want to meet everybody again, because financing is quite detailed. But okay.
Right. So that's it in a nutshell.
Okay. Thank you. Is it Lucas?
Yes.
No? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there he is.
So I'm from Guadeloupe. I'm 23 years old, and I just finished a French film school. So I'm presenting a music video in the festival with one of my friends, and yes, that's all I can say. Sorry, I don't. I'm not at home yet.
Oh, I see you're on the road. You're not driving,
Yeah.
are you? Okay.
No, I'm not driving.
Okay. Well, thank you. Did you have a question? Oh, it's okay. We can get back to it. Michelle?
Yes, sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
I turn on my camera especially. I'm actually here cooking at the moment. My name's Michelle Bent. I'm from London, England, and I thought I'd come on this afternoon because I know nothing about filmmaking, but recently I've gotten involved with a few people, and we're trying to do a documentary about the Windrush generation. And I thought it was really, really interesting. So yeah, just trying to find out as much about filmmaking as possible. And I'm interested in getting in contact with Camelia afterwards, because I'm also a teacher and my family is from Barbados. You know, yes, a place that I'd really rather be right now than in cold England. But hey, it is what it is. Yeah. So
thank you.
And just wanted to know as much as possible.
And is it Kenji or Kenji? Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. How about Amy? Okay, maybe they're not there. Oh,
Kenji, yeah, hello.
Hi. Oh, I think it's frozen.
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
Okay. And Amy? Okay, that's Amy. So I think I'm gonna start. Hello? Okay. It's cutting in and out. How about Jamali? Sorry, Kenji. I'm just, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
As you can see under my name, I'm Jamali Jack from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I have been in video and graphic production since 1997, actually, just out of college. And my day job, my full-time day job, is that I'm the digital marketing officer at St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority. But I have my own video graphic production, branding, advertising, marketing business called Immaculate Images. And I am here because, well, I'm really good friends with Aiko and her family and so on. And I'm a really big supporter of what they're doing with the Hairouna Film Festival. And personally, why I chose this room is that I'll be honest that in my business, I am so much about the work that I sometimes forget the business aspect of it. And I really try to separate the two, because I think sometimes when you focus on both, it's going to affect one or the other. So I'm hoping to be able to get some knowledge in terms of how could I approach more the business aspect of things and not let that, get in the way of the production aspect. Yeah.
Okay. Amy, are you there? What I think, just because it's such a short amount of time.
Hello. Hi, I'm there. Yes, I'm there.
Okay.
1 second. Let me just turn on my video. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Amy, and I'm from St. Lucia. So I think everyone pretty much covered the reasons why I'm also here. And it's, as creators, it's very easy for us to get into the process and the creativity of it all and forget striking the balance. So I just want some more tips in terms of finding an even better balance in that area. That's all.
Okay. So I'm saying, Kenji, you can try again, and if anything, you can put your question, I think, in the chat. But
in the chat.
You gonna try again?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is just acting up today. I work in New York, but I am based here in London. I have my film Blackness as part of the film festival. And I don't have a question, but I'm kind of with Jamali, just wanting to know the business aspects of filmmaking. I studied photography and got my master's in photography. So I kind of wanted to branch off and sort of intertwine and just know that business aspects of business in filmmaking. So if I have a question, I'll definitely type it in once it comes up, but yeah.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, there's a tool I actually use to help me in doing the strategy around our film versus even our company. And I think it's probably easier if in the workshop, this is actually what I do teach and what Marva's referring to as an easy tool to kind of help you think that way. Aside from using it for film, it comes from the digital media community. But you can apply this to being a teacher. You can apply this to being your acting career. So it's really components that are relative to any kind of business aspirations that you do have, and easy kind of simple way to pull all this dense information and visualize and see it. So I think it'd just be, let's see. Sure. So, this is a simplified version actually based on Amar's documentary. But given what all of the three of you said, what I think I'm going to share is, if you can see this, is this example. So I'll tell you first and foremost, the tool is called the Business Model Canvas. And the Business Model Canvas is made of 9 components. they're equivalent to, you know, a business plan, but these are the areas that you really need to focus on in order to develop a kind of structure around your business. This came about really, especially if you're looking at how you're drawing revenue and at long-term planning. How do you look at everything that you need to do in one fell swoop to kind of understand the relationship of it, to kind of also figure out if you have any gaps. It's a really flexible tool that will help you develop your pitch. It will help you also ideate new ideas, as well as figure out what your overall cost and budget should be, because there's far too many things that you end up doing. Half of it's in your head or off the side, and it's costing you money that you're not even thinking of recouping, and then inevitably working against you actually moving forward, both in sustainability of your business and actually in driving, gaining revenue. So the framework for it is essentially this, which I talk in more detail about and each of what these squares mean. But for the brevity of time, I'm just going to go to one that I've actually filled out. Let's see. Okay. So one of the things that you're saying is, you know, you have your production, and then the business aspect of it. Your production is in a couple of different components. There's the development aspect of it. There's the actual production of it. There's the marketing and the export of it. And oftentimes you have to wear, as an independent person, all those hats. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that this tool can do, let me just see if I can blow it up. So the last project I worked on, which is a film that was sold at Netflix. But when I started out, just to even get a sense of what the project is, I didn't start at the beginning. I joined the production afterwards. I needed to get an understanding of what the production was about, what the offering was, which was a romantic comedy, but also what the objective of the production was. Did they want to sell to a distributor? Did they want to go to a theater? Did they, what markets did they feel that they wanted to sell in? What was their timeline around this, and what resources existed to kind of leverage, and what partnerships existed that could be part of this overall plan. So typically this could be 3 or 5 pages worth of just information scoping, but instead this particular framework allows me to jot these down very point form and get a vision of what the project is without feeling overwhelmed or without having to dig up too much details. So what I teach is really about utilizing this tool, and what's also important is these are business terms. So it keeps you straight by knowing the business terms, but I find as new artists and independent artists, we're not used to it. So sometimes the terms or the idea just scares us and freaks us out. Or you feel that you don't understand. But what I guarantee you is everything that you know about yourself and your business, once you put it down in this, it's a very empowering tool, because it allows you to realize really the scope of what you have, and also identify gaps that you might not have. So I'll start with, this is a film. We know that we wanted to sell it originally to a distributor in a Canadian, hoping that it would be picked up. At a certain point, we actually decided to self-distribute, but over here, which is something called customer segments, we identify who those distributors are in a very simple way. We also identify who our ideal customers are for the film. We look at what other territories. Can you see this okay?
It's a little small, but I can see it.
You know, and if anything, please just unmute and let me know. Let me see if I can blow it up a little more.
I'm just following your motion and listening to your narration.
Oh, you're listening to my narration of it?
I'm following the mouse because it was fine.
Okay.
I didn't know it could get larger.
It can.
Larger is better.
Yeah, it can. So
that's a little better. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I should have asked you. Anything, just stop me. So one of the key things is you have your project, you need to identify a market. You also need to identify how you're going to make money off of it. So you might have a project that you think it will go in the theaters, but if you don't know how much you can actually generate in box office sales, you might be setting yourself up for a strategy that doesn't necessarily work for you. So this allows you in a lot of ways to plot out all the ways that you could go, very point form, and then identify what might work, but also do deeper research. Key partners. By definition, in a business model plan, key partners is everything that you have that is outside of what you own. So funders, financiers, anything that you need to either produce your project or anything that you need to market it or promote it or outside contracts. So you never really think about all these individuals that you do work with and they're part of your ecosystem, but you don't actually realize how much it impacts your business until you identify it. So another good thing about this plan is that it gives you an area to identify all these things that are part of your business that you don't see on your day-to-day, but they're integral to you being able to produce your work and sell your work. Does that make sense?
It does. Can we say it's kind of like a blueprint for a building? You have the skeleton ready so that you can go back to it and add. It's like building on top of the framework.
Yeah, absolutely. What it becomes is a blueprint and a bit of a roadmap. The original business model canvas, and I will put one in when we get back in the chat so you can download it for yourself along with a link.
Okay, perfect.
How it's used. This is one I evolved and expanded because it didn't have things like a timeline, which I think is extremely important, especially in film. You could produce your film now and realize it's such a fast economy that you only have a certain amount of window that you have to market it, to take it to festivals before you want to sell it, and to move on to the next project.
Oh, I see.
Jamal was saying, I'm so sorry. Teacher, I'm going to say the teacher who
Michelle?
Yes, 2 films, is that you have these products. Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm hearing a weird.
You're hearing your own voice. Yeah, there's a reverb.
I don't know what that was about. Okay, I'm going to try to share the screen again. Okay. In terms of having these projects that you've produced, how do any of you try to sell it? Like, have you been trying to sell it? Have you been trying to exhibit it?
Well, I haven't actually created. I'm still in the writing process because I'm an actress. I think I was mostly interested in the eventuality of potentially writing my own, creating my own content. How would I go about actually manifesting it and bringing it out to audiences? And I'm working on a couple of them right now. So I was intrigued by people like you who've actually done it and done it successfully.
Well, I'll say this, I wish I had one that was just ideating. Even as as an actor, an actress, or maybe you want to focus on the producing and the writing side, becoming a writer, then that is your value proposition, I think. Maybe you're looking at developing as a writer as opposed to just developing a one-off project. And that's the kind of question you have to ask yourself. Are you building, what direction do you want to go in? Yeah, this is also to the teachers. Film is an excellent way to actually teach so many skills. All in this, what we realize is there's such a gap in terms of accountants, strategists, business, financiers, because they don't actually consider this, the amount of business that actually goes into film. And it is an experience, even doing this particular workshop with kids, they grasp to it and understand it quite well. And particularly now when we have these products that are churning out and an appetite to buy these kind of projects, it's so important to know the business aspect behind it, because what is continuing to happen is realizing there's definitely, you can see by the way Netflix is purchasing, where they're investing their money, there's definitely an appetite, and they're not doing that out of goodwill. They're doing it because it is making money for them. So things that are going on in the business where you see, you know, Netflix is very invested, Hulu, all these digital channels are coming up. Festivals such as this and other festivals in the world, just because you have a project, leveraging a film festival and building that into your business plan as research and investigation is an important thing. So at some point, channels to your customers, this section right here, whether I have a film or I don't have a film, I always build in attending markets. And attending markets is very important, but it also costs money. But attending markets is about building a network, building a connection towards any of those buyers, watching, several of you have films inside the festival coming up, watching, engaging how the audience reacts to your work, because within the festival is also, there's the B2B, the business to business buyers that are your customers, and there's a B2C, the business and the customers. So a lot of the times that you're at a festival and you're excited to get in, but part of this strategy is I'm actually with people that are enjoying my work. What kind of feedback can I possibly get on my work? Will they sign up, and how do I leverage that opportunity and make the most of it? Because money, you're already in that opportunity. You might have another project. So if you're going to a festival, or you have, what are your pitch packages and what kind of material do you need ready for it? And I feel a lot of people feel that you want to be so finished. But the thing is, you have, you know, an opportunity. You don't have to be finished about anything. I think you have to have a solid idea and a solid commitment. And networking is not just walking around trying to meet as many people as possible. It's trying to identify what you need. And this helps you, what you might be missing. Maybe I want to meet a producer. Maybe I want to meet an actress. Maybe I want to meet a whatever. And this gets you to look at all the components that you have to create, but all the components around you in your ecosystem, the world of ecosystems, and understand the relationship and the roadmap that you want to create towards it. It also is such a good tool. I feel like this is not the best example to demonstrate it, but if you have a team, you know, you're not working on your own. It's writers, it's producers, it's directors, and sometimes, especially with producers and directors and small, you probably have ownership stake. You might have two different visions as to where you want this project to go. So this tool also is a great thing around developing teams and understanding, and a clear sense of what is at stake. And then get extremely, this is really great input where you might not see it. You put a team together and it works the best, especially if it's diverse. A writer's perspective versus a music person's perspective versus the producer's perspective is all warranted, and they'll see different things in this, but in a one-page thing, you can get instantaneous feedback as opposed to that long form of sending out a proposal and reviewing it. This is something that you can actually sit and coalesce around. I almost want to do like a live demonstration of what it can do. I think that, please ask me any questions as we.
I didn't want to cut you. I had my hand raised, but I noticed Michelle has Michelle has a comment in the chat.
In the chat? Okay. Okay. Michelle, do you want to just tell me what the comment is?
And just let me unmute. Yeah, what I'm hoping to do is when I've completed this particular project, to sell to education departments, sell to schools, and possibly have a workbook to go along with the documentary. And I'm also thinking in terms of, yes, it's for the British market, but the people from the Windrush generation came from the Caribbean in the first place. So perhaps I could also sell to the Caribbean market.
Absolutely. I'm gonna. It's echo again. I want to see. Let's switch to this one. I'm gonna stop the share. I don't know what the echo is about, but to answer your question, that is one of the first things like that you really need to look at in your customer segments, and understand that if you can sell to the market, the local market, you can sell all around the world. And it's also what other English speaking countries would purchase your content. What second language could it translate into? Because that's also a potential seller. One of the television and film and television are a bit different, but MIP TV, and everybody knows about the Cannes Film Festival, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a television market called MIP TV and MIPCOM. Has anybody heard of that?
No.
So that's the television equivalent to Cannes. That is the biggest buying market around in the world. I think there's an American one as well, but it happens 2 times a year. And it's the world market coming together. I've had the opportunity to go and actually working with Marcel in that market. And that's why I can say to you that you might think, don't limit where you think your project can go. You might not think anybody in Germany would be interested. Germany, and why these countries are listed specifically in this model, is they actually buy Black content. So not only do they buy Black content, when we did our Netflix sales of Love Jack, and I was checking the analytics and getting the analytics back, although they had the worldwide rights, we also recognize in the analytics, those are the countries that actually viewed and consumed the content. So one thing I can say is never limit. Don't think it's just your local island. It's the world is your market, and that's actually how you're going to be able to build something that's longer term.
Can I ask Orla, as you mentioned, teams, how do you have any, this might be much more sort of personal, but do you have any advice on how you build really great teams, people who have great work ethic and can jump on board with you and help as we go to getting this thing done without feeling slighted or feeling like they're being told what to do and becoming inconsistent?
I heard you. I'm just grabbing my charger.
Okay.
Okay. I was like, oh God. Okay. Oh goodness.
No problem.
Oh, well, I'm going to say part of it is actually knowing what you want. So I'll even refer back to even getting an exercise of this and trying to figure out what is my business model, what is my want, what is my interest, what is my core value. Understanding who you are and what you want will attract who you need, because it is a bit of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
If you go with the idea of like, oh, I just need a producer, and I hear good things about him, but they don't actually fit your value statement, your personal value statement, or even in discussing things. There's also the thing about sometimes teams being really flexible. Maybe it's just good to have it one-off on a project and leave yourself open to that. It might be great for this project, but know that not every project it will be good for. So it's understanding, I think, the diversity of the types of teams that you want to look at, and going into that already knowing that you don't feel locked in. And then there is that, through that process, you'll meet people and you'll know where they're a fit. They'll be aligned. You could sit down with, ask them their vision. This is the one thing I like about this. I don't necessarily always walk around with a piece of paper, but because I use it so much, and if somebody's pitching me something, it's already in my head. So I can go through those kind of questions. And it's not that the project is not great, or it's not that I can already determine if it's a fit. So that's one of the things. And part of understanding fit is really being kind of clear in what your objective and your goals are.
Yeah.
And also, what do you have to offer that person? I think there's a lot of times you go into it and you have a project. I think maybe I should ask specifically what kind of team you're speaking about, but you might have a project, might be a great project to you, and it is a great project. you want this person to jump onto it. They're not necessarily a partner, but somebody you want to build in a team. What's in it for them? And it doesn't necessarily have to be anything huge, but when you know that this is a person that you want on your project, you're going to also offer them something to make it worthwhile. And I do think it's worth talking about more, particularly in, I think, the Black community globally, culturally, because sadly money is so scarce. It's all these other things. We're very kind of, you know, I don't want to say that, it's not crabs in the crab bucket kind of situation, but there's just very little to even offer, and you're just always trying to just get it done. That eventually that becomes your practice. We need to break that. That cannot be your practice because that's not going to get you any further ahead. And so taking a step back from this helps you look at the broader picture. If I want to build this relationship, and it's not even crazy offer. It is. Does that answer your question? I don't want to keep rambling.
No, and I find it does, because I find that even in initial talks with people, what you said about the crabs in the barrel comes up a lot, where it's they speak about all of the ills or the pressures or the problems, and so they can't even envision what the possibility could be. And I think, like you said, it's who's the best fit. And I think initially there has to be some sense of it's possible to get this done. How can we get it done? So I think I was just curious about how maybe you found people who are easier to converse with in terms of vision long term and possibility than all of the issues that are plaguing the community and all of the issues that are plaguing the business right now.
I think I'm just more, it's good that you asked. I think I'm more vocal about it now. And it's why I say, like, what are you offering them? I realize that's something it's within my control to change, because I realize we're coming up against the same thing. What can I do on my side for clarity? The other thing I do is I have a very clear understanding about what I want and and it's not easy too. It's a work in progress about what I value, and also what is my personal mission statement. You know, at the end of the day, the world is very big. So I look forward. One of my greatest partners is in South Africa. It gets really exciting to know that your teams can be all over the world, and you'll find a fit. But if you have somebody, then you think some of it's just intuitive.
Yeah.
It's like if you have to force it, then it's just not really worth it, and you don't want to get in the position of I've been guilty of that, is undervaluing somebody as well, thinking it's like, oh well, my stuff, I should be over here with that, and the minute somebody steps over on your thing, they're giving up something. You know, and I think it's about straightforward dialogue.
Yeah. Do you have an email address that, in case we have anything that we'd like to pitch you, that you could give us?
Well, I think,
or somebody to access you?
Well, I don't take pictures necessarily, but what I do feel, pictures or idea, what I could possibly do is like this kind of workshop, helping you figure out what your model looks like, is something more of what I do.
Okay.
Which I think is important for you when you pitch anybody else, because these are the questions that I keep jumping around. These are the questions that they're gonna I want to settle on one slide. These are the questions that they're going to ask you anyway. And these are the things that you want to know. So I really kind of stand by, I'm open to communication, but looking at how do we build your world puts you in a better position.
Yes, exactly.
Do that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I going to, I think I have my email information. So absolutely. Plus I am going to send, I think maybe a one page or and a video, so you could, it's too short of a time for you to be very familiar with this. You know, if that makes sense.
It does, yes, it does. Where do you find this?
I'm still echoing.
Yeah, one of my questions was
yeah, I think it's when
Sorry.
Michelle is unmuted. We have the echo.
I'm
think.
not sure if I'm supposed to return to the other room.
Could it be me that's creating the echo?
I think so.
Because the only question I was actually going to ask was, this is a question that only a teacher would ask. Are you willing and able to share those the presentation?
What I'm going to do is no.
I'm going to mute.
Oh, okay. It is you. Okay, no problem. Thank you. I was about to like try to reboot stuff and nobody wants to see me do that. I will try to create a smaller presentation. What did you find? It's so hard for me to share that without really going into each of the squares and discussing it, but is it seeing the visual of the BMC? Which is the canvas.
Well, for me, it's the subcomponents on the canvas, but because they were all, the visuals were all prominent, so I wasn't able to see all the headings. So it would be important to see the different areas that you do the breakdown of.
Yeah, what I'm going to share with you, I'm going to make it probably a 3-pager where you'll have a couple of the examples that I shared. So we'll share that, but the slides that you don't see, which explains what it is, that'll be part of it. So I'll put together something and have, I'll follow with Marva as a follow-up handout. I'll have my email contact, and this is today. Are you just here for this panel, or you're participating throughout the whole festival?
For the entire process.
Okay, so I will definitely try to whip that up by Monday, but I know she's gonna have other things that she wants to follow up on and be part of that bundle.